I'm going to explain the country profile assignment now. It is made up of three sections. There is paper 1, paper 2, and a presentation. This is the last writing assignment for the semester. The paper 1 is due on Sunday, November 8th, and paper 2 is due Sunday, November 22nd. So I'm going to scroll up to the syllabus so we can take a look at, on page 7, the description of this assignment. So the primary task is to analyze another country from a natural and outdoor recreation resources perspective. So you will not be choosing, you cannot choose the United States because we've been spending the semester studying the United States. You will choose a different country, and then the first part of paper 1 is to examine your country's evolution of a land ethic, which we talked about in chapter 4. That was our history chapter. In this section, you will discuss at least 3 important historical events or times that have impacted your country's management of natural resources, environment, and/or outdoor recreation. You want to provide enough detail for each point in time for how the land ethic and natural resource management have evolved over time. The second part of this assignment is describing a federal government agency that is responsible for managing natural resource or outdoor recreation resources, something like our National Park Service, and then one federal regulator, something like our Environmental Protection Agency, that enforces environmental laws and regulates natural resources, and then one governmental committee that deals with natural, environmental, or outdoor recreation resources. This last part of paper 1 sometimes hangs students up a little bit. So this is where you will describe a law or statute that allows for citizen involvement in natural or outdoor recreation resource management. If you need help, you should get help from a research librarian, or you can do a lot of Googling to see about citizen involvement in your country. Now, I've been doing this assignment for years now, so I've read many of these papers. And so most countries do have some kind of law or statute that allows either specifically or in general terms for some kind of citizen involvement. It may not be in natural or outdoor recreation resource specifically, but sometimes you can take a broad law and apply it to natural resource management decisions. So you will want to make sure you cover this. If you have chosen a country for which there is no law, which there are not many like that, you must explain why you think the country doesn't have a law like this. What is it about the country's culture, history, or government that doesn't allow for this type of citizen involvement? So in the United States, we have the National Environmental Policy Act, which gives citizens a right to comment on new management plans and decision-making being proposed by federal agencies. You may or may not find a law like the National Environmental Policy Act. You just need to make sure that you do address this question. The last 8 points for this part of the assignment is complete sentences, spelling, grammar, and your references. All of this will be put into a Google form, just like we've done with the Know Your Legislation assignment. You will not be writing a separate paper. Here is part 2 of the country profile assignment. This part is worth 60 points. In this part, and this is the part that will be due on the 22nd of November, you will begin by describing 5 issues: natural resource, environmental, or outdoor recreation issues or controversies that the federal government is dealing with in your country. Then you're going to describe 5 citizen organizations. This is not government organization. This is citizen organizations. Public interest groups, environmental groups, recreation user groups, special interest groups, pressure groups that are engaged in natural and or outdoor recreation resource issues. You can refer to chapter 14 for this. And you're going, it may be something like the Sierra Club. Now the Sierra Club is an American organization, but it actually does have some offices internationally in other countries. So you may find Sierra Club is in your country. Now the next section, for 3 of the organizations that you've talked about up here, you're going to provide real-world examples of them using any of the methods or strategies identified in Chapter 17. Specifically, you are to summarize what the citizen organization was involved in as it relates to natural and or outdoor recreation resources, what means it used to advocate for its cause, and as best you can, describe the outcome of its efforts. Did it change a policy? Or was there a new law or statute passed? Then the last part of this assignment is your sense of how the country is doing overall concerning its management of natural and outdoor recreation resources and the opportunities it provides for its citizens to get involved and make a difference. And once again, 8 points will be devoted to the complete sentences and spelling, grammar, and your citations. Here is the presentation, and what I recommend is just getting paper 1 and paper 2 done. Once you have those done, this presentation will be easy because you're just going to be pulling out pieces of your paper to put into the presentation. The presentation will be 5 to 7 minutes long, no more than 8 slides, and addressing the following. Now, the presentation is not due until December, so it's not something that you need to worry about now. But you'll want to begin, obviously, with paper 1. Okay, let me go back to week 11 here. I have posted the rubric for paper 1, rubric for paper 2, and for the presentation. To help you think about what country you might want to cover for this assignment, I've included the link to the Environmental Performance Index. This website looks at 100 different 80 countries and rates them on their environmental performance. You can dig into the methodology they use to develop this ranking if you'd like. There's a lot to this website. But in this view, you can see here that Denmark is ranked number 1 in the world according to their measurements. If you want to know, well, why is that ranked number 1? You can click on the country, and then it will show us these measurements and the ranking that they got on each of these measurements. So you can look at all of those. You can also go back and look at another country. You can see here, this is the ranking right here of all these countries. You can also look up a country this way. For example, I was in the Peace Corps in Tonga, which is in this tiny country in the South Pacific. So you might want to look up a country and see how are they ranked, first of all, and then why are they ranked that way. You can look at all of these measurements. You can also look at these different categories and see in more depth how those measurements are done. So this may help you think about the country that you want to choose for this assignment. When you are thinking about the country, just make sure it's a country that you think you can find all the information that you'll need. So that's why it's important to be looking at the whole part 1 and part 2, so you see all the different pieces to ensure that you can find what you need for the country you plan to choose. And of course, if you have questions, please reach out to me via email.